So this is a Lawson hammock, the Blue Ridge, and a friend of a friend purchased this recently, and I'm borrowing it for this video. There are about 1 million videos on the Lawson Blue Ridge hammock, and so I'm not going to do a big review on how to set it up or anything, just how it functions for a big guy like me. And there are several older versions of this that are out there. This is, I guess it's the newest version. He got the bundle where you get the hammock, the underquilt, which is supposed to be good from 17 to 64 degrees. And you also get the suspension with it. And then it's a few dollars cheaper than just getting the underquilt and the hammock. So he went for it even though he didn't need the suspension. And I'm using mine on this one. And FYI, if you want to get the bundle and get an underquilt that can be used for many different kinds of bridge hammocks. This is the Lawson underquilt right here, attached underneath my War Bonnet Ridge Runner with the sock. It should fit inside the sock. I just didn't want to go to all the trouble of doing it, but it should work. And you can see there's some space between the hammock and the underquilt, and there's elastic on all 4 sides that can be used to take up any slack or sag and help you ventilate in warmer weather.
So the Lawson required a little bit of experimentation, and the first time I took it out there were some difficulties that were not the fault of the hammock, as you will soon see.
So a lot of people say these are really tippy, and I've got a lot of angle on the suspension right now, so it's not for me, but I think I'm gonna try and flatten that out and take that dip out of the hammock and see. It'll probably make it a little more tippy then. All right, and I want to lower everything a bit too. It's a bit high. So it was definitely more than a 30-degree angle a minute ago. Now it's probably closer to 25, and I've adjusted both ends a little. Let's see what that does for us. All right, well, this is a little better. It's a little flatter, and it is a little tippier, but not super bad. It's, you know, again, if you're a kayaker or canoeer, it won't be anything you're not used to. I still can't lay flat and straight, but if I get on a bit of an angle and there's enough room in here for that, then it helps. But I may have to tighten up those straps a bit and take some more angle off. Getting in and out of this is a little more difficult because you don't have that seam on the back side that you can grab onto. So it's just if you sit your butt further into the hammock, it changes the weight distribution and makes it easier. Well, I just realized I have the wrong carabiners on here. Darn it. So this is already stretched out a bit, and these will not support my weight, and then I'm done for the day. Darn it, I grabbed the wrong carabiners. That's another good reason why you check your gear thoroughly before you're taking it out. It's a wonderful breezy day out, and putting on the rain fly is intuitive, nothing to it really if you left your directions at home. The whole thing is pretty intuitive. You don't really have to worry about it too much. Seeing as I can't use it as a hammock, I guess I'll set it on the ground and see how it does as a bivvy for a big guy like me. That's gonna feel great. All those roots and acorns and everything. Great. Yeah, it's not very roomy in here for a big guy. So I would not recommend this as a ground bivvy if you're a big person, unless you absolutely had no choice. My feet are pressed against the netting, and my head's pressed against it here, although if I lay down all the way, I'm not really touching. Well, I am touching, but I'm not pressing against it as much. There's not a lot of room in here. Probably good for a kid or a smaller person, though. All right, now I gotta try and get out of here. Push me back. All right, here we are once again with the hammock set up, the Lawson Blue Ridge hammock set up, and I have the correct carabiners on the suspension this time. So let's give it another shot, shall we? So far the main problem I'm having with this is this material on the floor is very slippery. So when you sit in it, trying to get into it, you actually have to sit way back in, otherwise you slide out once you try to lift your legs up and get your weight onto the hammock. This is definitely going to require more experimentation to get the flat lay going. Right now I've kind of got a Peroni's hammock going. Here it dips down in the middle. I'm getting a little bit of hyperextension on the knees. If I go crossways, I should take my boots off too. It helps a little bit, but there's like a twisting motion that's going on there. I lowered the head end straps a little bit, and then I tightened both ends just a little bit. You don't want them too tight. You don't want them flat. And it's still pretty close to that 30-degree angle, but the sag is reduced in the bottom of the hammock a little bit. It's a little bit flatter. So it's an experimentation thing. I'm going to have to find out what works most comfortably for me, and if you get this hammock, you're going to have to do the same thing. That's kind of a positive, it's kind of a negative. You know, my bridge hammock, my Ridge Runner, I don't have to experiment that much. You know, even if I don't set it up quite right, it's still pretty flat and pretty comfortable. So this is definitely a little bit more touchy than your other hammocks will be, in my experience, my extensive experience of 2 hangs with it for what, 30 or 40 minutes total time. So, you know, your mileage may vary. I don't know if that's visible, but what I've done is I have the foot end, the suspension strap around the tree there is a little bit higher than the head end. And then I tightened everything up a little bit. So the angle is a little less than it was, but it's still not flat, nowhere near flat. But that has helped quite a bit. The flatter you get it though, the more tippy and unstable this is going to become. So it's just one of those things where you've got to compromise. But I think experimenting and just being aware of the limitations, you know, do not try to pull this taut flat from end to end. Just be aware of that. That's trouble. You could rip the hammock, or you can make it so unstable you can't really get in or out of it or lay in it safely. But just in little incremental changes, that seems to have helped. So, well, I'm just going to relax and enjoy this for a while with my pillow and the nice sun shining down on me and my bottom being warmed by the underquilt. And I've thrown in a little bit of a diagonal lay, and that has improved further the comfort level. Much better. So one of the other big pluses of this is there's a lot more room in this than in other lay flat bridge type hammocks. There's about 4 to 6 inches more width. What is it, 42 inches wide, where I think the Ridge Runner is 38, something like that, 38 or 39 inches. And there's 90 inches of length in here. So you can lay out, you can put your gear in it too. Inside here, there's room. You know, if you have a dog, he or she might like to be in here next to you, cuddled up. Hopefully I got a shot earlier of how bowed and saggy the bottom of the hammock was before. Now look how flat it is. So it can be done. A matter of experimentation. And I can lay on my side pretty easily. I'm in a kind of a fetal position. Yeah, it's not really a big deal. So let's do a tippiness demonstration. I'm just going to sit up here
all the way. It's moving a little bit, but no big deal. I'm going to zip up the fly here, the bug net. Stand by. I need both hands for this. Okay, we got her all zipped up, and it's not too tippy. You know, like I said, if you're a canoeist, a kayaker, it won't bother you in the slightest. Even you people who ride bicycles probably will be able to balance. Let me get my pillow back here. So much nicer. And there's plenty of room here. Look at that. Luxury. This is what really attracted me to try this out, is how much room there is in here. It's a kind of heavy hammock, but it would be good for car camping, taking it up to the cottage or the beach if you have trees at the beach, or winter camping when you're hauling your gear in a sled and weight doesn't matter as much. Plenty of room in here. These, for want of a better words, these calf ridges in the mosquito netting are only there because I'm laying crossways in it. Let's see if I can move them. Yeah, there we go. When I lay in the center, everything kind of goes tubular, semi-tubular. And yeah, plenty of room. Wow, this is nice. I think this is the roomiest hammock I've ever been in. So that's about it. I'm just lying here relaxing for the next half an hour or so before it's time to leave. If you're over 6 footer, over 250 pounder, just know that this hammock can support you comfortably. I think it takes a little bit more experimentation than some other hammocks, but it's also inherently more comfortable than some other hammocks. So it's a doable proposition. If you have a friend who can let you borrow one, give it a try. And you may decide you like it enough to buy your own.